What's up, guys and gals? My name is Umineko. I'm back here with Eclepid, and
And
here's...
I'm and I'm very confused.
Hey, very confused. I'm Dad.
Beautiful. Best
I,
intro yet.
I meant to say, hey guys and gals, my name is Matt, and I'm here with... No, my name is Umineko. I'm here with Eclepid. Oh wait, and we're playing Matt.
We're playing Matt.
I don't know what I'm doing. Never mind.
I think this game is playing me sometimes. Sometimes that's how I feel.
We're in Soviet Russia. You don't
In
play
Soviet
game plays
Russia.
you.
Game plays you, comrade. Just like all of us.
Who read last time? Was it me or you?
I have no idea.
I don't remember either because it was a week ago, and I haven't. If when you're seeing this, a video is going up today after you see this, but it'll be like 2 or 3 parts before this. I didn't upload for an entire week. I'm sorry about that. I was really busy and a bit under the weather, and also kind of stocking up on videos just so we get a little bit ahead of the game in case we miss something in the future. So sorry about for that week of absence, but in case we miss a session, we shouldn't be behind then. So, anyways, do you want to read or should I?
Totally up to you.
Alright.
I have a feeling that I read last time, so
I think you did because it was a pitch. Did you read about who read about Rosa getting tortured? That was you.
That
me.
was you. Yeah.
All
so
right.
that was the last thing that happened. Okay.
Cool. It was a pitch black room. There were no windows, and by the light from the weak bulb, one could only just barely make out the state of things around them. Were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna ask if it was also a perfect locked room.
Oh, I do
So
not
I was
know.
gonna cry.
It appeared to be an old, forgotten, dusty underground storehouse with some kind of furniture haphazardly thrown into it. Where the fuck are we? What? The fuck?
That is a prison.
However, a prison on Rikenjima?
Well, I mean, isn't this Kraus? And no. This is someone who fell into the pit of despair or whatever.
The pit of despair led to a prison cell. Great.
Apparently.
However, even with just a little light, one could at least tell it wasn't probably a storehouse. Because that room was sealed off with iron bars.
ここはどこなの？
わからん。ここは屋敷の地下なのか。食堂の真下にこんな部屋があったのか。
Yes.
Probably.
Oh, explanation for that scene before. Obviously, there's no pits in the ground, and I don't even know if my theory last time I think was that the person that I don't know if Kinzo's actually alive or dead, but if we're thinking Kinzo's actually dead, then the person who has been playing or acting as Beatrice all these other times is probably disguised themselves as Kinzo.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe drugged them all. I mean, that would give a sense of falling into a pit, like if everybody just collapsed from being drugged.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, so maybe they were all drugged and then dragged off to wherever this cellar thing is.
It's possible.
Because I don't think falling into pits is very likely. Anyways,
Yeah.
they've been dropped into what had appeared to be a pit and fallen into this room. Notice fallen is italicized. I don't think they've fallen. But
Also, depending on how high the ceiling is, they should be a certain level of really hurt.
mm-hmm.
You know.
Very true. Therefore, it would
So-
be appropriate to think that this was right underneath the dining hall. I think that's what it said. However, not even Kraus could bring himself to believe that there were pitfalls right in the beloved dining hall where he'd enjoyed his meal for years, and that directly below it was this dungeon-like room. But the ceiling, when they looked up, was made of rugged stone, and they could not understand from where in that ceiling they could have fallen. Because they didn't. No, all 5 people who had been dropped here thought the same thing. Although they had felt a sensation of being dropped into a pit, there was no way there could be pitfalls in the dining hall, nor could this dungeon-like place be directly underneath it. But, point in fact, they had fallen into this place and were locked in. There we go again with italics. Fallen before and had this time. I'm not buying that bullshit.
Yeah.
and so they were confused.
あの高さから落ちて誰も怪我をしなかったのは幸運かもしれませんな。
Matt Teramasa said.
シャン、カノン、君たちはこんな部屋の存在は知っていたかね。
いいえ、僕たちもこのような部屋のことは存じかねます。
本当に？
本当です。本当にこの部屋知りません。
It seemed that Kirei thought there was a good chance that despite their age, they might know of this mansion's secret tricks as servants permitted the one-winged eagle. There was a long silence as if evaluating their answer.
いや、シャノンたちが知らないのは事実何しろ綺麗好きのシャノンだ。彼女がこの部屋を知っていたならもっとピカピカに磨き上げているだろう。この部屋の汚さが君たちがこの部屋を知らないことの証だ。今はそんなことよりこれからどうするかの方が先決だと思わんかね。その通りです。警察にいえそれから救急にも早く電話をしなければ。
Nandra's words rang hollow. Obviously, 6 people had been killed in the dining hall. They had all witnessed the exact moments when the 6 had been killed, and what's more, it had been done by half destroying their heads. Anyone could tell with just a single glance that they had been dealt a fatal injury. Everyone understood that calling for an ambulance now would be completely meaningless.
ありがとう、南條先生。
It's been a while since we've heard this track.
私たちは伴侶がもう生きてはいないことを理解できてる。気休めでも救急と言い添えてくれてありがとう。
Nanjo, stop your bullshit, is what she's saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
Once again, an impressive silence took control of them. But Krause shook his head harshly over and over and decided just for now to forget the pain of losing his wife and dedicate himself to figuring out where they were.
みんな聞きたまえ。親父はもうダメだ。
Of course.
口で言って理解や説明が求められる段階にもうない。
Now imagine if Kinzo actually was dead, and then Krause sees this guy that shows up that's Kinzo, and he's like, "What? But you're dead," and now he's so totally confused.
Just like me.
Nobody answered. Without any kind of discussion or mercy, 6 people had been killed in an instant, and Kinzo had so boldly proclaimed for them to become sacrifices in a 13-person murder ritual. Since they had been locked up in this place, they too would probably become the ritual's next sacrifices before long. Around this time, their eyes were becoming used to the darkness, and bit by bit, they were starting to be able to make out the dungeon's interior. What they thought was furniture haphazardly left in the dungeon turned out not to be furniture at all. Instead, it was an electric chair and a bunch of torture devices. Oh. There were small cages that could be used to imprison a single person. Restraining tables, or were those torture racks? Oh, shit!
Oh boy.
I was right. Torture racks.
Yep.
At any rate, it was obviously more ghastly than a mere jail cell. Since those objects were rusted and covered in thick layers of dust, there was no doubt that they had long been forgotten. Maybe you could even have called these things Kinzo's sealed and forgotten madness. This whole thing is his sealed and forgotten madness.
His entire life is forgotten madness.
However, it was this room in which they had now been locked away. Those objects weren't exactly comforting to people who were locked up, hoping to be released without harm.
とにかくここを抜け出そう。私たちは伴侶や友人を失い、涙を流すことに時間を費やしたいが、今はそれ以上に子供たちの身が心配だ。
お子様方はご無事でしょうか。
祈るしかない。そういえば熊沢さんと郷田さんはここにはいないな。
ひょっとすると無事に逃げ延びられたのかも。
Kumasawa threw some mackerel. That's why they're alive.
かもしれませんが、子供た
She
ち
used her
と
special
合流
move.
しててくれれば心強いのですが。
Mackerel
Kumasawa
throw.
uses mackerel throw.
It's very effective.
合田さんはいざという時頼りになるし、熊沢さんは経験豊富で落ち着いてるし、きっと力になってくれると思います。
そうだといい。
I'm picturing Kumasawa doing that super anime thing that happens in every like shonen where they scream the name of the attack as it's happening. And he's just screaming
Super macro attack!
Macarilla throw.
Yeah!
Isn't it key or what's her, yeah, that.
Super macro throw!
Oh.
Shannon and Krauss
Alright.
smiled bitterly a little,
Make
but
it
they
happen.
quickly realized how improper that was and stopped, clearing their throats.
楽観はできないよ、姉さん。僕らに続いてもう襲われてしまってる可能性だってある。
同感ね。お父様が食堂で執行したのは魔女の碑文の第1の番の6人殺しなんでしょ。なら第2の番は寄り添いし2人を引き裂け。逃げ隠れて寄り添っている合田さんと熊沢さんがもう殺されている可能性だって否定できないわ。きっとゲストハウスに合流してて子供たちを守ってくれているなんて楽観、現時点では全くできないわよ。
Okay. Did you think of something? Hello? Did we lose each other? Matt, hello? I think we lost Matt. I can't hear him. Oh, we're waiting for Matt
Hello?
to... Oh, are you here?
Yes.
Okay,
Sorry
cool,
about that.
cool. No problem. We're back. Did you realize something about what she said?
Yeah, she was thinking the two who are close, not in like a relationship sense, but she's thinking physically.
Huh.
She said in close proximity, or hide
Yes.
together in close company,
Yes.
which is interesting.
Yes.
I had never thought of that way to interpret it.
Neither have I. Huh. Kirei coldly analyzed the worst case scenario. Even for her, it was heartbreaking to have lost her beloved husband. But right now, the most important thing was protecting that husband's son, along with other children, from becoming sacrifices to the insane family head. She overcame her sadness with parental urge to protect the children. It seemed that both Kirei and Krauss were strong enough to forget their grief, if only for the time being. They could let their tears flow later. For now, in order to protect the children, they had to act, and they had to
とに
act
かくここ
right
を
now.
脱出しよう。相当古い牢屋のようだ。
They wanted
なんとか鉄格子を破れない
a
か。
lot of safety.
And a lot of safety
Right now.
室内をくまなく探して脱出手段を探してみよう。
Yes, because the person that put you here definitely left a way to escape.
ここにはガラクタがいろいろあるわ。何か役に立ちそうな道具とか落ちてないかしら。武器になるものがあるかもしれないし、鉄格子を破れるものがあるかもしれない。
That's, this ain't it, Chief. Carrie pulled a lighter from her pocket. Oh, yes, nice lighter. Burned through the bars, yes. She herself didn't smoke, but she kept one tucked away in her pocket to light Rudolph's cigarettes. It was an extremely valuable source of light for searching through this dim dungeon.
シャノンはキリエさんを手伝い、カノンは私と一緒に鉄格子の具合をこれだけ古い牢屋だ。ひょっとするとガタが来ているかもしれない。
Was the whole... I can't remember. Was that whole cigarette thing was episode 3, wasn't it? That was before this. It's been so long. I think
Yeah,
that was episode 3.
that was episode
Huh.
3, yeah.
私は何をお手伝いし、体力を温存していてください。やがてここに親父殿が現れるだろう。親父殿に言葉が届くのは南條先生だけです。ある意味南條先生に我々の命は握られているかもしれない。
私の言葉などもう届きはせんでしょう。申し訳ないがそのお役には立てそうにない。
なら南條先生のお医者としての知識を貸してください。 人間を即座に混沌させるような毒って存在するのかしら。
Aha! Now you're thinking, Kyria.
人間
Yeah.
を即座に混沌させる毒、どういうことですか？
Looks like Kirie
私た
is
ちは
on
落
the
とし
same
穴に落とされ
track
て
that you were.
この地下牢に落ちてきたと信じている。あの混乱している場で私たちはそうだったろうと信じたわ。でもこの地下牢の広さを測ってみて分かった。この地下牢があの食堂の地下というのはありえないことなのよ。
どうしてありえないってわかるんですか？
姉さんはバカだな。この地下牢は食堂に比べて狭すぎる。
その通り。1番目に落とされたのはクラウス兄さん、2番目が私。クラウス兄さんはこの部屋に落ちてきた時その場を動いたかしら。
お恥ずかしながら落下の痛みでうめいていたよ。その住む傍らに桐江さんがすぐに落ちてきたんだ。
食堂でのクラウス兄さんと私の立ち位置と落下時の落下場所の距離が明らかにおかしい。
確かに言われてみればその通りです。その次に落ちたのは私だからお二人の位置関係はよく覚えている。食堂でのお二人の間の距離はこの部屋よりもあったかもしれない。
私たちは落とし穴に落ちてダイレクトにここに落下したわ。集合する下水道管みたいに一度集められてからここに落ちたわけじゃない。落下は一瞬だったでしょ。そんな凝った排水管みたいな穴を転がされた覚えはないわ。
確かに落とし穴では説明がつかんな。おかしな話だ。
それと桐江様のおっしゃる人間を即座に混沌させる毒というのはどう関係があるんですか？
桐江様は多分食堂に落とし穴なんかなかったとお考えなんじゃないかな。
しかし現に私たちは落ちたぞ。
落とし穴に落ちたような気がするが正解よ。無理もないわ。そうとしか例えられない体験だったから。
なるほど。つまりこうおっしゃいたいわけですな。私たちは落とし穴に落とされたのではなく、例えば
Dropped into the pit.
毒矢のようなもので撃たれ瞬時に意識を失い、その倒れて床に突っ伏す瞬間の記憶をまるで落とし穴に落ちたよと思い込んでしまっているのかもしれないと。
なるほど。食堂に無数の落とし穴が仕掛けられていて我々がそれに何十年も気づかず食事をしていたとするよりは。
姉さん、時計はある？
うん、懐中時計があるわよ。22時40分くらいね。
僕の時計もそうなってる。つまり僕たちは食堂での大騒ぎから十数分も時間を経過させてないってことになる。
It's very possible they could have tampered with your watches, though.
私の時計も
I mean,
同様だ。
That would
That is
make
true.
the most sense.
我々が混沌させられてどこかへ担ぎ込まれたと仮定するには
All your
時
watches are
間の
wrong,
経過が
idiots.
短すぎる。時間だけを見るならやはり我々は食堂の真下へ。
How is that
落とし穴
reasonable?
と
Judging
落とさ
from
れ
the
たと考
time?
えるのが妥当だ。
There's no such thing as falling through holes. What are you talking about?
時計の針なん
Also,
て
would
い
you
くらでも
really
いい。
Thanks,
Like-
Kyrie.
Yeah.
Would you really be what?
Sorry, I was just saying, would you really be knocked out for like 10 minutes
That's
after
true.
like a two-story fall?
Mm-hmm. Probably.
I mean, I don't know. I
be-
guess everyone's different, but
What were you saying? What were you thinking?
well, I think that
It would be longer
The
than
fact
10
that
minutes,
it's-
right?
I think it. Yeah, if they got knocked out, I would feel like it would be longer.
That's what I
And
thought.
also, like the 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I mean, they don't know where they are specifically in relation to where they may have been knocked out, but like to get a bunch of bodies dragged or picked up and carried into an area that might be like kind of far away. would that really have? I would think it would take more than 10 minutes, but again, I don't really have anything to judge that on, so.
I agree.
私たちが気絶している間に全員の時計を巻き戻したのかもしれない。
And that's what happened.
その可能性がなかったことは証明不能よ。
落とし穴にせよ、混沌させる毒にせよ、私たちは用心するに越したことはないというわけ。
それで南條先生、混沌させる毒は存在するんですか？
それは桐江さんの論法と同じですな。私の知らない未知の
Devil's proof.
そういう紅葉のものがないとは
Even the
証明でき
pieces are
ません。
catching on.
用心に越したことはないということね。ごめんなさい。無駄な質問だったわ。ただ、私の仮説により、この地下牢が食堂の真下とは限らないという可能性は示唆できたと思う。
なるほど、広大な森の中のどこかに隠されていると噂される親父殿の隠し屋敷の地下牢に運び込まれている可能性もある。ここを脱出して外へ出ればそれもわかる。それを詮索するのはここから出てからでもいいだろうな。
その通りね。本当にごめんなさい。さっきから無駄な質問と詮索ばかりだわ。
いや、とても頼もしいよ。今後も何かに気づいたら教えてくれたまえ。ここを脱出する何かのヒントになるかもしれない。ルドルフからいつも聞かされ、君の発想にはいつも驚かされ、時には重要なヒントにもなるとね。君がここにいてくれたのは不幸中の幸いだ。
ありがとう。私もルドルフさんに聞いてるわ。クラウス兄さんは普段は威張っているけれど、いざという時は責任感にあふれる頼りがいのある兄だって。
In before, Kyrie is like the daughter of Kinzo and Tsuruichi.
I don't think so, but hey, I'm honestly not gonna rule many things out at this point.
さすがにそれは世辞が過ぎるね。くそ。それにしても頑丈な鉄格子だ。カノンの方はどうかね。
いえ、こちらも全く。
Kraus and Cannon tried wiggling each of the bars in various ways. There were a few bars that could be twisted, and a few felt like they had enough room to rattle around for a little bit, but even so they could not be broken with human strength alone. However, there was still hope that they could use, if they could use some kind of lever-like tool. It was still far too early to give up yet. The children's lives were hanging in the balance. Even if there was no hope, they couldn't stop their struggle, and it was even better for them to act this way. If they were to stop, there was no doubt that they would once again be overcome by the grief of losing their loved ones and crouch down, clutching their knees.
キリエさんたちの方はどうかね。何か見つかった？
握って隠せる程度の石ころは見つかるわ。
Good find. We'll throw stones at the wall.
こんなものでも
Yeah.
武器にはなるかも。さすがに鉄格子を削り取ることは無理でしょうね。シャノンちゃんはどう？
いいえ、何も。
What the fuck?
これ、電話です。
I found nothing. Oh, here's a phone.
There's
A
a
phone
phone
just
in the cell.
there's just randomly leave a phone in the cell.
Interesting.
Although it's not gonna go anywhere because you can't call anywhere because the phone lines are down.
Right.
つながってるわけもないわ。でもコードは何かを縛ったり武器にも使えるかも。
There's no way it's connected, and before they cut the cord, not realizing it's connected.
Yeah.
壊して分解すれば金属部品を取り出せるわ。クラス兄さん、鉄格子を開ける鍵穴は。
ああ、だいぶ鍵穴の大きい大時代的なものだがね。針金のようなものでいじれば騙せるかもしれないな。
電話の金属部品で何か代用できるかもしれない。その電話武器になるわね。
投資と同じだよ。情報は武器だ。
Kraus and Curie laughed together at this way of putting the phone to use, which didn't remotely look as didn't remotely look at it as a means of communication.
何やってんのお姉さん。
その電話つながってるかなって思って。
Okay, this phone is definitely a working phone now.
バカだ
Yeah,
な
come on.
姉さんは。
あれ
Suddenly, Shannon let out a small surprised cry.
キリエ様この電話つながってます。
なんですって？
It was like when people move out of an office, taking everything with them, only leaving the phone behind. That's the feeling the phone gave off, having been left in the corner of the cell. The cord was wound into a coil, one end of it being swallowed by the wall, and at a glance it looked as if it could plausibly be connected. But to think that it actually was. Kira took the receiver from Shannon and pressed it to her ear. The electric hum was certainly the one with which she was familiar. This phone was indeed live.
なんという幸運。
And before it's a phone bomb, and the second you call, the cell just explodes.
警察へ連絡しましょう。
Someone planted an IED
Yeah.
in the cell.
話がうますぎる。
Yes, see, Kraus? It's a bomb.
盗聴されているんじゃないのかね。
Or bugged.
そんな細工するくらいなら普通は電話線を切断するわ。電柱が本気で見落とした可能性が高い。
Nobody would overlook a phone.
気づかれたら今度こそ電話線を切断されるかもしれないわ。警察への通報を盗聴されて何も困ることはないのだし。
That did make sense. The point of a wiretap was to overhear some important piece of information, but the way things were now, they could not think of a single thing that would come up in a conversation in the outside world that could be troublesome to have heard. Kira instantly concluded that it was more likely to be a mistake on Kinzo's part than a trap.
確かに一理あります。
But they did not consider the fact that it was bombed.
外線は確か0番からだ。
カノン君、私は電話するからあなたは外の様子を伺って誰かが近づいてくる気配があったら知らせて。
はい。
Cannon raced off towards the iron bar, silenced by his breathing, and strained his ears. As everyone present watched her, Kira dialed 110, the police. However, she pushed the hook down repeatedly and redialed. It didn't seem to be working very well.
外線は0番から110番は0110じゃないの？うまくかからない。
貸したまえ。私がかけよう。
Kraus took the receiver in Kira's place and tested various things. But in the end, they were unable to notify the police. The phone itself was definitely live, but the circuit was apparently cut somewhere. Did this mean that they were not so naive?
やっぱり無理ですか。
敵も甘くはないってことね。
Kira let out a deep sigh, leaning against the wall, and hung her head for a while. As tough as a girl she was, for a brief moment, she might actually have had the naive hope that the phone could actually work. She sneered at herself, mockingly, for holding on to that naive hope for even one moment. And then, she thought back upon just what was happening here. Honestly, despite having been shown such a thing right before her eyes, or rather exactly because of that, she still could not think of that gruesome mass murder as something real. It was less that she couldn't believe it, and more that she didn't want to. Oh shit. Ushiromi Akinzo had killed 6 members of his family. He had summoned strange witch-like demon people, right out of thin air, and with something like magic he had begun to kill people one after another. Too much to handle, even though she definitely saw there was no way she could accept that spectacle.
そんなことあるわけがない。
Thank you, Kiria.
あれはきっとお父様の友人か何か。それがあらかじめ食堂のどこかに隠れていて、手品的に突然姿を現して私たちを驚かせただけなんだわ。
Okay. This is gonna sound out of this world. Completely out of this world.
Okay.
Everyone on the island has been given some type of drug that causes their minds to go completely fucked. Like, imagining things that aren't real.
Mm-hmm.
And
mean,
every time they see something that actually happens, they're hallucinating it, so they're not seeing what's actually happened, and it's because of this drug that they've been given.
it is an interesting thought. I mean,
Or
we've joked about them like having just a really bad trip and stuff, but I mean, maybe that's not too far from the truth.
What if there was like some type of fungus or something on the island that let out spores that fucking like fucked up their minds and caused them to hallucinate this shit? So people are actually dying, and there's actually somebody killing them, but whatever this agent is causing them to see things.
Well, here's the issue with that, is that all of them are seeing the exact same things.
Yes. Huh.
And there's no way that a drug would be able to do that across the board with very different people. You know.
True. Huh.
It,
Back to the drawing board.
yeah, it was an interesting theory, though.
そう考えなくちゃあのめちゃくちゃを説明できない。
But when those six had their heads blown apart, a golden arrow had flown around and around the room that had truly looked like magic. Was that another thing we just saw wrong? There's no way it was magic. There must be some kind of trick to it. Since it was capable of smashing heads, there's no doubt that it was some explosive. For example, a styrene toy plane, like they sell at candy stores, painted gold, and with a powerful explosive loaded onto the end of it. That sat at a glance, it seemed to be flying at random. Curie couldn't imagine that such a thing could be fired 6 times and each time perfectly hit the victim square in the head one after the other. Surely its flight wasn't computer controlled to seek out and deliver precise hits on its targets, which could make it a high-tech styrene plane on the same level as a guided missile?
Wow.
I don't think so.
そんなバカバカしい仕掛けを膨大な私費を投じて作らせたと？あのおかしな余興のために？お父様ならやりかねないって？
A number of mysterious people had appeared suddenly out of thin air. 6 people had their heads demolished by a mysterious golden flying object, and the 5 of us were locked away in a mysterious dungeon by a mysterious set of pitfalls, or else put to sleep by some mysterious fanning poison mysterious dart. The mysterious family conference started a bit after mysterious 10 p.m. It's only about a mysterious 30 minutes since then. Probably. Mysteriously. Probably those mysterious events which mysteriously took place in a short mysterious amount of time. None of us are able to mysteriously understand nor come to grips with, even though we witnessed them mysteriously ourselves. Even if we did get a hold of the police, it would probably be impossible for any of us to accurately explain what we saw. I may only have just witnessed it, but my brain's fried and I have no confidence in even what I saw myself. Curie had tried her hardest to rouse herself from overwhelming confusion, just to hold on to her sanity.
くそ、どうなってるんだ。くそ、くそ。
Kraus started to become desperate, hitting the hook multiple times and redialing over and over. He too was feigning composure, but was unable to hide his panic. Why don't try calling within the mansion? Because, like, the phones could do that before. So, like, try to call Kumasawa or fucking even Maria or something. The more he redialed, the more pretense of serenity peeled away. None of this makes any sense. That's what Matt thought. Curie couldn't help but pray that the events that just occurred were no more than a dream. Suddenly, the look on Krause's face changed. What?
呼び出してる。呼び出してるぞ。コール音がする。
本当ですか、クラウスさん。
なるほどな。親父め、浅はかな。警察に連絡されまいと外部への電話線は切断したらしいが。
Oh, you were right.
内線が切断し損ねている。
Who is it? It's your boy.
Stuff. It's your boy.
クラウスさんはどこにかけているの？
Hey guys, Clip It John here.
ゲストハウスとジェシカたちの部屋の内線番号にかけている。
Peace sauce. Michael here.
もしもし、もしもし、私だ。
It's me.
お前は誰か？ゴーダか？ジェシカはいるか？無事か？
旦那様、ご無事でよかった。はい、ジェシカお嬢様たちも皆さんご無事です。
父さんなの？無事でよかった。母さんは無事なの？そこにいるの？
Kraus choked on his words. Kraus had clearly seen Natsu's head crushed, had seen her killed right before his eyes. That response should be enough to tell Jessica. Eventually, he was going to have to tell that to Jessica. However, Kraus began to fret over whether he should tell her this very moment and lost his words. But even that was an answer under these circumstances.
母さんはわからない。無事を祈ろう。今はお前だけでも無事でよかった。
She knows.
Yeah.
Jessica's voice was filled with tears. There was no doubt for Kraus anymore. Jessica and the others had been told everything, start to finish, by Goda and Kumasawa when they had met up at the guest house. After they had learned that 6 whole people had been killed, Jessica and the others must have been in a frenzy about wanting to go to the dining hall. Luckily, he had been able to call before they stormed off toward the mansion. Kraus was relieved at its good timing during such tragedy.
ここには今、キリエさんと南條先生、それにシャノンとカノンがいる。地下牢のようなところに閉じ込められているが、心配するな。こっちは父さんたちで何とかする。
どこ？助けに行く。
あいにく、私たちにもここがどこだか見当もつかむ。食堂の真下だと思っているが、そうでないかもしれない。
I'm freaking thinking somebody's gonna catch them on the phone.
とにかくジェシカ、そこを出てはならん。
Well, they gotta wait for the right time before they kill him, so what are they gonna do to him, you know?
That's true.
おじい様は今、
I'm
正常
hoping
な状
that
態に
was,
なる。
Killed.
hoping that she said killed and not something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
殺せば危険だ。殺されるかもしれない。私たちを助けに来ようなどと、こっちはこっちで何とかする。
じゃあ私たちはどうすればいいの？小さな目、よくも母さんたちを、あの死に損ないぶっ殺してやる。
ジェシカ、そんな言葉を使ったら母さんが悲しむぞ。レディーはそんな言葉を使うもんじゃない。
Ugh.
とにかくお前たちは身の安全を最優先。ゲストハウスを戸締まりするんだ。しかし過信はできない。1階のラウンジの大窓は破られるかもしれない。その部屋にとどまり、ベッドを立てかけてバリケードにするんだ。その部屋にはトイレも冷蔵庫もあるな。明日の朝までは籠城できるはずだ。いいな。くれぐれも物騒なことは考えるな。母さんの敵を取ろうなんて相手を刺激せず、隠れてやり過ごすことだけを考えるんだ。
Okay.
分かったよ、父さん。
After that, Goda took the phone and was told again to watch over the children as a responsible adult. Goda repeatedly said, "Yes, sir," in an over-restrained voice, his face covered in cold sweat. From there, Kira received the phone and spoke with Battler, and when Shannon and Cannon took their turn, George and Jessica answered. And following that, Nanjo and Kumasawa picked up as well, so that all members of both sides had their turn on the phone, each encouraging the other and confirming that they were at least safe now, even if their location was unknown, and coming to a complete understanding of the current situation for both sides. They wanted to talk forever, but now was not the time to chat. Kraus told them that they would be hanging up for now, and those in the guest house agreed.
くれぐれも用心して、無茶なことは絶対にするんじゃないぞ。
父さんやカノン君たちが無事だっただけでも、ノーケモンってやつ、私たちも頑張る。父さんたちも。
ああ、もうそれでは一度切る。用心しろ。
With that, the phone call ended. Goda and the rest of the men quickly descended the stairs, closed the shutters, and secured the strong locks on the doors. However, just as Kraus had worried, there was nothing that could be done about the beautiful wide window in the downstairs lounge. If this were to be broken, it would be easy for them to get inside. It wouldn't be hard for someone like Kinzo, who hadn't hesitated at committing murder, to invade the first floor.
おじい様たちは 武装している可能性が高い。部屋に閉じこもるのが最善かつ唯一の籠城方法になるね。自ら密室に閉じこもらざるを得ないのは苦しいところだけど、相手が銃を持っていたらそれしか方法がない。
親方様は実銃のコレクションをお持ちとの話です。そう、あれは銃だったんだ。だとしたら恐ろしい威力の銃だ。とても太刀打ちはできません。
頭を砕くなんてすげえ威力だぜ。マグナム弾とかそういう類のやつかもな。下手な扉なら平気で貫通するかもしれねえな。
だとすればますますに部屋に籠城するべきだね。ベッドを立てかけて窓も塞ごう。そこまですればいくら銃を持っていても踏み込むことはできないはず。
くそ、そんな受け身な防戦一方しかねえのかよ。くっしょ、うちの親父に上等を決めてくれてキリエさんまで捕まえたなんて、こいつは高くつくぞ。クソじじいめ。
Go.
無理です。あんな連中に太刀打ちできるわけがありません。しかも親方様だけでなく手下も何人も。あるいはあんな連中がもっといるかも。あいつらは一体何なんだ。
Balor was filled to the brim with the urge to get revenge for Rudolph and to rush out of here to save Kiride, but just by looking at how terrified Goda was, there was no doubt in him that it would be reckless.
兄貴だって悔しいだろ。なのにここで籠城なんて。ちくしょ
う。もちろんさ、僕だって悔しいよ。両親を殺されて冷静でいられるわけがない。でもだからこそ冷静にならなくちゃいけない。僕たちが無駄に命を落とすようなことを殺された親たちが望むと思うわけがない。せめて子供だけは逃げ延びてほしいと願ってるはずだ。だから僕はそして警察に通報し、全てを暴く。敵は法廷が取る。それが僕の復讐だ。差し違えてでも敵を取ってほしいなんて親たちが望んでいるわけもない。そうだろう。
そうだな、兄貴の言う通りだぜ。ちくしょう、クソじじいめ。何か儀式だ。俺たちがそのための生贄だって言うなら意地でも逃げ切って。
それでいいよ。それにバトラ君にはまだキリエさんがいる。僕にだってシャノンがいる。とにかく慎重に行動してチャンスを待とう。僕たちの不用意な行動は囚われの彼らに不利益を与える可能性だってあるんだから。
人質か。でもじいさまはきっとキリエさんたちを生贄にするために捕らえたわけだろう。俺たちが助けなきゃ殺されるのを待つだけじゃないのか。
彼らが捕らえられている地下牢がどこにあるかもわからない。シャノンもカノン君も、もちろんゴーダさんも熊沢さんも知らなかった。おじいさまだけしか知らない秘密の場所にある可能性が極めて高い。そんな状況下でうろうろと歩き回るのは自殺行為だよ。
分かってるよ。それでもくそ、俺たちはここで何かが起こるまで引きこもってるしかねえってのかよ。
バトラ様のお気持ちは分かりますが、ここは安全第一で参りましょう。旦那様の話では相当古い牢屋らしいので、なんとか鉄格子を破れるかもしれないとのことでした。今は信じて待つ方が賢明です。
おじいさまの手下が何人もいてみんな武装しているんだよね。
ええ、そうです。そして多分みんな武装を。
Goda had been able to say that Kinzo and others on his side, but he had not been able to mention that they were all mostly young women, like witches, and had committed their murders using strange magic. If he had said that, it would only have caused the others to doubt his sanity. No, in fact, he himself still couldn't understand what had been seen and was doubting his own sanity. But regardless of sex or appearance, regardless of whether it was done with a machine or a gun, the fact that those girls had followed Kinzo's orders and had killed 6 people in an instant was an unshakable truth. If those people came to attack the guest house as well, what would happen? Just by closing the doors and windows like this was surely meaningless. Goda, as well as Kumasawa. The only thing left for those two, who had witnessed that massacre in the dining hall, was to cradle their heads, not even knowing how to interpret what they had seen.
Kumasawa-san, 大丈夫？お茶飲む？
ありがとうございますね。ありがとうございます。申し訳ございませんが、しばらくそっとしていただけますか。
Maria tried to be nice, but it seemed that Kumasawa still wasn't able to clear away her confusion.
マリア、気を使ってくれてありがとうだぜ。熊沢さんは休ませてやってくれ。おお。
Jessica, too, showed consideration for Kumasawa, certain of the shock that she must have received after witnessing such a tragedy. But her imagination couldn't have even come close to the impossible scene Kumasawa had witnessed. Nevertheless, with her mother having been killed and her father having been captured, there was no way that Jessica could stay calm either. She sealed her anxiety and sadness using her anger towards Kinzo and walked irritatedly around the room.
Kumasawa-san, 母さんは本当？
ええ、あんなひどい死に方を私は見たことがありませんとも。
I don't know about that. I think, like, getting killed instantly isn't too bad of a way to die, but okay.
Yeah, there are definitely worse ones, I think.
Like, being tortured and having your guts cut open and spilling out like candy.
Yeah.
But anyways.
You
ひょ
know.
っとするとまだ生きてて手当てをすれば助かるなんてことはないんだよな。
Or being drowned in jello. And cake and shit.
And impaled on a fence.
Yeah.
頭があんなことになって生きていられるわけがありません。
そりゃそうだぜ。頭が砕けちまったら手当てなんて必要ねえよな。
When Goda had come flying into the guest house overcome with agitation, he had told them about the massacre in the dining hall without concealing anything, except for the part about the witches and magic, which they still themselves could not believe. In other words, they hadn't even sugarcoated the cold-blooded way in which Natsui and the others had died. It was too late now, but Kumasawa regretted having obviously said too much. Why? However, while lightly shaking her head and with a slightly painful laugh, Jessica spoke.
いや、むしろ話してくれたおかげで冷静になれたぜ。頭を砕かれちまったってところを伏せられてたら、私はひょっとすると生きてるかもしれないって言って屋敷へ向かいじいさまに出くわして、ひょっとすると殺されてたかもしれない。一抹の希望が命取りになった可能性だってあるわけさ。その意味では感謝してるよ。
本当に申し訳ございません。言葉をあまりに選ばなかったことはお詫びします。
今はいいよ。母さんはもうどうしようもないけど、父さんはまだ生きてる。カノン君もシャノンもキリエおばさんも南條先生もね。なんとか彼らを助けたいし、彼らに負担をかけないためにも余計なことをするべきではない。電話の前で待機してることが今は一番の協力になるかもしれないし。
Yeah, I think she's right.
There could be a phone call asking them to create a diversion to facilitate their escape. Or perhaps the others might learn their location and call for a rescue. Jessica understood that in order to act promptly when that time came, the only thing they could do for the time being was to wait in this room. George, Battler, and Goda returned, having finished checking all of the locks downstairs. Each of the three was holding a bunch of different objects. George had things like drinks, canned foods, crackers, and other types of snacks that he found in the lounge and pantry, as well as a first aid kit. All consumables that would be indispensable while they were locked down. Goda had a large folding ladder and carpentry tools. Those were so that, in case of an emergency, they could nail over the door from the inside to seal it. If it came to that, the ladder was for escaping out the window. Battler had brought up objects which could be used as weapons, such as blades and poles. The kitchen knives went without saying. The disassembled table legs could be used as clubs, and the pole, roughly the size of a person, which had been made by taking apart a hat stand, could be surely used as a spear, even though it had no point. There was a good possibility that the enemies were carrying guns, so it was dubious whether those would be in any use. But it was still better than not having them, and if those things that could provide at least a little peace of mind, then they could also expect some kind of calming effect from them. Then they placed beds and sofas from around the room against the door. They didn't go so far as to seal it up with nails. There was still the chance that Krauss and the others would escape and come to meet up. They had apparently set up a barricade at the top of the stairs as well. It had been designed to create a racket, so it would work in place of a warning alarm as well. It was apparently Battler's idea. For that reason, they turned the TV off, so that if the first floor window was to be broken, they would know by the sound. Once the switch had been turned off, all that was left was an eerie silence. The sound of the violent wind and rain. Were they going to have to spend the whole night in such crushing suspense? The boat was meant to be coming tomorrow morning. However, judging by the weather report, the typhoon was expected to continue all day tomorrow, and the boat probably wouldn't come. The typhoon would pass in the morning of the day after tomorrow. In other words, the boat would be coming the morning of the day after tomorrow, as in the morning of October 6th, and right now it was late at night, October 4th. They would have to spend more than 30 hours on this island, with Kinzo turned cold-blooded murderer and his weird companions prowling about. Even with the shutters closed, there would definitely be a little bit of light seeping out. It might let the enemy know that they were hiding here. Battler suggested that it might be best to turn off the lights, but they had already been taken over by such a ghastly feeling from just turning the TV off. There wasn't anyone who directly challenged his proposal, but then again there wasn't a single other person who agreed to it.
テレビダメなの？
ああ、悪いが我慢してくれ。敵の侵入の音を聞き逃すわけにはいかん。
つまんない。
Even though she had been told that her mother had died, Maria alone somehow didn't feel an approaching sense of danger. It seemed that she was quite displeased with having the TV turned off, even with this bizarre situation in front of her. She can't share a sense of danger? Because she's so young? To Battler right now, seeing that a young girl act in a way that was even slightly out of place made him feel that there was something very eerie about Maria. Fuck.
とは言ったものの、万策尽きたわね。鉄格子はなんとかなりそう？
残念だが、いつ頃に作られたものか知らんが、耐用年数も文句なし。実に優良な物件だよ。
Kyrie chuckled softly. They had no moves they could make, but the mood had calmed down just a little.
さながらここは取られた駒を置く駒置き場ですな。
Nanjo, my man.
He's about to flip it.
Nanjo is just broke the fourth wall without realizing it. My man Nanjo.
打つ手はもはやありませんか。
まだよ。諦めるには早いわ。思考の停止は鼓動の停止に同じよ。
だな。チェスの駒置き場に意味はないが、将棋ならば大きな意味を持つこともある。駒置き場の一枚の歩が相手に。
なるほど。しかしこの鉄格子はどうしようも。
私たちにはね。でもここの場所を特定し、郷田さんに連絡することができれば助けに来てもらうことはできるかも。
なるほど。しかし郷田さんに危険を強いることになりますな。その場合、成人男性が不在になるゲストハウスのお子さんたちも不安です。
リスクを恐れるなら 事態が好転
Wait a
するま
minute,
で
George
塩
is
漬けにするのも
23. That's a
悪くない
full-grown adult man. Right?
Apparently, they still think he's a child.
Huh.
もっとも損切りを恐れれば紙切れ同然になるかもしれん我々の命がだが
親の子犬もね。私たちで何とかするからおとなしくしていなさいって偉そうに電話して、その下の根も乾かないうちに助けを求めるなんて実に格好悪いわね。
この後に及んではくだらんプライドなどとっくに紙切れだ。知恵を絞ろうじゃないか。ここはどこなんだ。本当に食堂の真下なのだろうか、それとも屋敷とは異なる別の場所だろうか。
Kraus, Kirei, and Nanjo began to discuss their plans. Cannon was squatting by the bar, silently trying to sense anyone's presence, just as he'd been ordered. Shannon came close to him, and they both squatted down together.
気配は感じるの？
こちらに意識は向けていないけれど、比較的近くに誰かいる。
それは人間？
ヤギたちだと思う。
What?
The
What?
goats are back.
How do you know about the goats?
Well, they are furniture.
Yes, but they. How do they know already about the goats?
I mean, I would assume that since they... Listen, if we're going by what the story has been feeding us about how they're furniture and so are the ghosts and stuff, like, I would assume Kinzo would have told them about
Oh, that's true.
about Beatrice and like all of her furniture and how that stuff all works.
Huh.
But I
あい
mean,
つらの吐息は
I don't know.
実に賑やかだよ。
Cannon's ability to sense the presence of others was several levels above that of a human. He described their breathing as noisy, but Kraus and the rest couldn't even pick up the slightest hint of it. Therefore, even if he had simply reported it, they would merely have doubted his ears.
捕まっちゃったね。
珍しいよ。殺されないで捕まるなんて。
今回はベアトリーチェ様のお越しにならないし。
Whoa, okay, wait a minute. No, you were onto something. I think they have memories of past failed rituals, like the past games. That's
There's something weird about
right. No, you were definitely... Huh.
These two definitely. We've obviously know they know more than the rest about the whole like occult happenings and stuff because they're King's furniture, quote unquote. But how like it's obvious now that they know a lot more than what we originally thought. How much do they know? What do they know? I feel like
they must know as much as we do. At the very least.
Suddenly Cannon and Shannon feel way more significant than they did before.
Yeah, seriously. This time Beatrice-sama didn't make her appearance.
親方様が書斎を出られるし。
This time.
Yeah. This time and earlier they said that's unusual. It usually happens this way.
Mm-hmm. Jeez, what?
Maybe only the servants with the one-winged eagle can.
Okay, there's gotta be like one of the things we're gonna have to do for the video after this chapter is we gotta figure out what these servants' furniture are, and like I have a feeling all the scenes that have included them are gonna be important. But anyways, that's something we can look back on for a later time. I don't think discussing it now is gonna do much good because there's so much we've forgotten already. But anyways,
何が何だかわかんないね。
me and you both.
わかるさ。何が起ころうと変わろうと、すべてあの魔女の気まぐれと余興。結果は何も変わらないのさ。
今回は黄金鏡に行けるかな。
さあね、僕たちは脱落率が高いから。
そういえば2人で第一の番を生き延びたのって
Yeah,
随
they
分
totally
珍しいね。
Jesus, what the fuck?
they totally know everything.
There had to have been foreshadowing for this. There had to have been stuff that we completely overlooked here.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling this isn't supposed to be as huge of a shock as it is, but man, huh.
Well, I
意識
mean,
が
it
始
could
ま
be.
ってるのにこうして
Yeah,
2
you're
人
right.
で
It,
お話
it
で
could
きる
be.
なん
It
て
could be a pretty big reveal
なんだ
here.
かすごく珍しい気がする。
そうかもね。でもそれもまた魔女の余興だろうさ。僕たちがいつもすぐに脱落するから、今度は少し生き延びさせてからかってやろうくらいにしか思ってないよ。
また黄金鏡にはたどり着けないのかな。
どうせそうさ。下手な期待を持つとまたつけ込まれる。
そうだね。前回はカノン君がつけ込まれたもんね。
僕はバカだ。
Wait, what happened last time? That was...
He
That
died
was-
protecting Jessica?
Wasn't last time, like, he got revived or something?
Oh, yeah, that was... Yeah, he got partially revived by Jessica and Beatrice and, like, guided
they-
her while her face was...
Yes.
Yeah,
While she
I
was
don't...
blinded, and then they hid in that room behind curtains, and Jessica never actually died.
Yeah.
But Eva fucking blasted Battler to pieces.
Yeah,
The fuck? Whatever.
that was a lot.
Cannon made a sour look and turned his head. Shannon laughed softly and apologetically leaned towards his shoulder.
でもお嬢様が無事でよかったね。
Who?
Jessica.
Oh, Jessica.
第一の番を逃れただけさ。それ以降の番により無残な方法で殺されるのをまた。それを言ったら姉さんこそジョージ様が無事でよかったじゃないか。二人で黄金鏡にたどり着けるといいね。
ありがとう。同じことをカノン君とお嬢様にも。
Without love, it cannot be seen.
Mm.
Without love, it cannot be seen.
Oh.
Without love, it cannot be seen.
Yo. So the truth of the world won't be revealed.
I don't know. I feel like.
And why can't George? Why can't George see it?
See what? The truth?
Yeah, see that they're repeating this cycle.
Well,
Like they
maybe because they're furniture, but maybe if the truth has to do with love, and obviously they know a lot more what they're letting on to, maybe it somehow has to do with the relationships between Cannon and Jessica and Shannon and George.
Right.
But what exactly it has to do with that, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
But again, there's probably more information about that in past chapters that we'll check back over.
Yeah.
僕は期待はしてないよ。姉さんの言う通りだ。あの魔女はご褒美をぶら下げて相手が右往左往するのを見て、どうせ誰も黄金鏡に行けやしない。僕がお嬢様と黄金鏡にたどり着きたいと願ってしまったなら、あいつはそれこそ面白がって絶対に僕たちをたどり着かせたりはし。
そうだね。ベアトリーチェ様はより面白くなるように生贄の順番を考えてる。
無作為に選んでるなんて大嘘だ。あのペテン師魔女め。どうせ黄金鏡にたどり着けばあらゆる願いが叶うなんてのも。
そんなことはないよ。黄金鏡は素晴らしいところだよ。
It's a wonderful place where you get turned into a table, a naked table, and
行ったことあるの？
ちょっぴりだけね。それすらも
I don't
レア
remember
トリー
that.
チェ様の戯れだったのだろうけど。
A naked
was-
table.
That was Battler at the end of the one chapter, remember? How he had completely submitted to Beitorichi.
Oh, right. Yeah, and she was walking him around with a leash.
Yeah.
どんなとこなのそこ？
うん。素晴らしいところだよ。うまく説明できない。安らかな夢の中みたいな世界。
バラが咲き乱れてて美しい蝶が舞ってるような極楽みたいな感じ。
そういう具体的なイメージのところじゃないの。本当に夢の中みたいなところなの。そこにいるときはとても穏やかで安らかで、いつまでも眠ってることを許されてる。まるで休日の早朝のお布団の中みたいな感じ。カーテンの隙間から日が差してきて、そろそろ起きないとと思うんだけど、今日は休日だから起きなくてもいいんだって気づいて、もう一回お布団の中に潜り込む時みたいな。
僕なら損したと思うな。休日なのに勘違いして起き出すなんて姉さんくらいだ。それで
うん、そこにいた時はね、満たされててとても穏やかだった。でも元の世界に戻ってくると、つい直前までそこにいたはずなのにうまく思い出すことができないの。ついさっきまで見ていた夢が思い出せないのによく似てる。でもとっても穏やかで静かな世界だったことだけは覚えてるの。
それだけ？なんだ、あいつが偉そうに言う黄金鏡なんて大したことないな。何でも願いが叶う場所だと思ってたのに。
その通りだよ。何でも願いが叶う場所。少し違うかもしれない。何も願わなくてもいい場所。例えばカノン君が寒くて上着が欲しいと願った時、上着をもらえればとても幸せなことだけど、そもそも暖かい部屋にいられたなら上着が欲しいなんて願う必要さえもないでしょ。黄金鏡はそういうところなの。大抵の願いは願う必要さえなくなる。全てから解放された何もかもが穏やかな世界なの。与えられて幸せという概念さえも超越した全てから解放された世界とでも言えばいいのかな。
なんだか宗教っぽい世界だな。
そしてそこでは全てが平等なの。意志ある存在は全てが平等。人間も家具も魔女もない。そこでの私は誰とも対等で公平。
There I was equal to everyone. So does that mean I'm
Did she-
confused. So
did she
she's
go
been
to the Golden
Golden
Lands?
Land before?
That's what I'm. That's what I was just saying. She's been to the Golden Lands, and when did she go to the Golden Lands? And can it? What?
Did she make it through to the end of any of the episodes? She died in the first one.
Didn't
as
she
one of
die?
the 6.
Didn't she die in every? She died in the fourth one.
Or the third one, you mean?
Well, or yeah, third. My bad.
Yeah.
She died in the third one. The second one. Who was left at the end of the second one? That was the one. The second one was the one where. That was the one where Rosa and Maria took off running down the path and had goat butlers chasing after them.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And that was also the first time. That was the chapel murder with all of the icky, gooey, sticky. The candy, right?
I'm pretty sure Shannon died in that one too.
I thought so as well.
I don't think she's been to the alive at the end for any of these. The fuck?
But I mean, the end of the epitaph says everyone shall be revived, and
Yes, but Canon would know about the Golden Land if that was true.
that's true. That's, yeah. Man, I don't know.
How does she know about the Golden Land?
Wow.
This sounds like something straight out of her imagination.
We're supposed to be getting answers, not more questions, right? At this stage in the game?
How does Shannon know about the Golden Land? This is supposed. She definitely died in chapter 2. She did die in chapter 2. She was killed with George.
Yeah.
She pulled out her shield. That was, and both of them died. What the fuck is going on here?
I don't know, man.
Hold on. That's what the Golden Land is like. There's no. You could say that place. Well, while I was there, it felt
very contented and very calm.
When did Shannon go to the Golden Land and Canon didn't?
I can't for the life of me remember.
This has got to be super important.
We definitely need to log this away.
This has got to be super important because there's no time that Shannon didn't make it to that Shannon did make it to the end. She died before the end every time. So something fishy is going on. It's like she's just Shannon. I solved it. Shannon is God. She created the Golden Land.
That's it.
That's why she knows what the Golden Land is.
Her best girl status has allowed her entry into the Golden Land.
But like we both noticed that at the same time. We're both like, wait a second, Shannon's been to the Golden Land?
We probably should have noticed that sooner in the dialogue, like earlier, like a couple lines earlier, she legit said, "Well, I was there," and I don't think either of us really registered that.
Okay, yeah, this is definitely super important.
Yeah,
we'll come back to this at the end of the chapter when we're trying to put everything together.
もう影だからと何も自分を恥じる必要がない。すべての人間とも、そして魔女とさえ対等な本当に幸せな世界だったの。うまく思い出せないけど、そこでは私、ベアトリーチェ様とさえ対等な関係で、良い友達でいられた気がする。
あの魔女がいるなら、ろくな理想郷じゃないよ。で、その幸せな黄金郷に、姉さんはジョージ様と一緒に行きたいわけ。おかしな話だね。黄金郷は全てが満ち足りた理想郷なわけでしょ。ジョージ様がいなくても十分に満たされてそうだけど。
黄金郷はね、とても穏やかで安らかで、全てが対等で公平だけれど。
I feel like two bombs have just been dropped on us, but we don't know how they fit in together. The whole thing about Shannon Cannon knowing about the past events, and now this whole thing about Shannon saying she's been to the Golden Lands. But, this is really interesting.
Yeah, this is a lot.
実は抜けてるの。
幸せな世界じゃない。
もちろん安らかで穏やかで公平というだけですごい幸せな世界だよ。でもそれは例えるなら全ての悩みというマイナスか。人の世はマイナスで満ちてるから、もちろんゼロというのはものすごい幸福の贅沢だよね。それはこういう感じ。穏やかな休日の朝のまどろみの時、最愛の人も隣にいてくれて手を握っててくれたなら、もっともっと素敵な幸せになれるみたいな。ごめん、姉さんは例えが下手くそだね。バカだから。
つまり姉さんにとっての最高の幸せとは、ジョージ様と一緒にその世界にたどり着くことってわけだ。
そしてきっとカノン君にとってはお嬢様と一緒に その世界にたどり着くことだよ。
公平な世界で二人は悩みから解放されなんだかおかしな宗教を吹き込まれてるみたいだ。僕はもっとこう俗物的な魔法の薬を与えられると人間に生まれ変われるとか、そういう感じの世界を想像してたよ。
行けばわかるよ。ベアトリーチェ様が本当に気まぐれな方なら、いつかきっとカノン君にも垣間見させてくれるに違いない。そうすれば姉さんの例えがよくわかるようになるから。
ま、過剰な期待はしないことにしとくよ。いずれにせよ今回の僕たちはこれでゲームオーバーみたいだし、別の機会に期待するさ。
そうだね。おかしな期待を持つとベアトリーチェ様にまたつけ込まれる。何も考えずただ運命に身を任せるのが。
僕たちはただチェスの駒であればいいんだ。何を考えても考えなくてもどうせ魔女のチェス盤からは逃れられない。後のお役目はどういびり殺されるか。ただ
So they even know about. They don't just know that things are repeating. They know about themselves being pieces and being on a chessboard.
Yep, apparently so. How is what I'm. What?
そう、ごめん。
Cannon shrugged his shoulders and then told Shannon to leave him alone because she was interfering with his duty, distancing himself from her. Realizing her thoughtlessness of bringing up such an important topic instead of hurting Cannon, Shannon bit her lower lip and stared at the ground. She wouldn't bother him anymore. She went off and squatted in a corner by herself. At that moment, Cannon twitched. Oh shit. It's like the ears of a cat when it reacts to faint sound.
どうしたの？
旦那様、誰か来ます。
Fuck. It's Beitsurichi.
Oh boy.
Probably. The Witch of the Painting.
Or Kiza.
何？
We haven't heard this track in a while. This was always like, this was in episode 1. Like right at the end of chapters. When Nightfall was coming. It's been so long. Holy crap. They ended this conversation and strained their ears. For a while they couldn't hear anything. But before long they were able to hear the sounds of a large group of people walking.
おいでなすったわね。
年貢の納め時かさもなくも。
私が金蔵さんと話しましょう。なんとかここの場所を聞き出してみます。
期待してるわ。
They're all gonna get murdered. Well, they can't, actually. If they're following the epitaphs, they can't. During the last phone call, Curie had asked what the time over at that guest house was. It had been the same time as her watch, and by this she had learned that their watches hadn't been set back. It wasn't just the clocks on the wall in the guest house. Several people's watches, including George's and Goda's, had matched. If that was the case, then after the massacre in the dining hall, they had been transported to the dungeon in only a few minutes. That means the dungeon must be really close. Not enough time had passed for them to be knocked out and carried away. Then were those really pitfalls, meaning that this was the area directly under the dining hall? All they could do is pray that Anju could find out where this was.
来ます。多分人数は4人。
Kinzo, Gap, probably those two,
親方様、
at least.
並びに食堂に姿を現したうちの3人。
And the two bunny girls.
もう十分だ。君も後ろに下がりたまえ。
Yeah,
あ
it
と
could
は
be.
私たちでお
Or it could
返
be
しする。
Ronove.
シャノンちゃん、申し訳ないけど、
him too.
電話のところに座ってもらえる？スカートで電話を隠して。
はい。
Here's what's gonna happen. They're gonna be talking to them and they're gonna be like, oh, by the way, you don't have to hide the phone. We know it's there. Don't try to cover up something. You're blatantly covering up something that they must know that's there.
Yeah, they have to know.
The presents came close, and there was the sound of a heavy door being opened at the other end of the corridor. The light they were apparently carrying illuminated the dimly lit corridor, stroking the walls with razor-sharp shadows. And Then the light from the lantern they held lit up the prisoners to the bars. The bars' sharp shadows divided them up lengthwise. There were 4 figures there. It was Kinzo, Ronove, Virgilia, and Gap.
後ろ宮家当主ゴールドスミス教のおな皆様ご静粛
ゴールドスミス？
親父殿のペンネームだ。怪しげな魔導書を書くときそういう名を署名しているようだ。
金蔵を英語風に？それならゴールドウェアハウスが正しいんじゃないの？
What?
ウェアハウスは倉庫、ただ溜め込むに過ぎぬ。
The smith
し
is
か
a
し
place to make.
私は金を生み出し、細工し、さらに価値を高めるのだ。スミスの方がよりふさわしいと思わんかね。
確かに無駄口を失礼しました。
金蔵さん、これはどういうことなんだね。ここは一体どこなんだ。
おや、我が友よ、思い出せんかね。さすがにその牢の中に入った経験はないだろうが、この廊下を歩いた記憶はあるはずだ。
まさか。
まさか。
心当たりがあるの？
いや、しかし、考えられない。
What?
So something that they've done, or someplace that they've been before.
第一、私たちは落とし穴に落ち、しかもほんの数分でここに閉じ込められたのですぞ。そんなことは物理的に、距離的にありえない。
Are they underneath Kuwardian?
Well, I was wondering if they were underneath. Is Kuwardian? Is that the other, like, mansion?
Yes.
Off further on the island?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was thinking too.
That's what I think he's insinuating.
Yeah.
人間にはね。
お父さん、ここは屋敷ですか？屋敷にこんな地下があったとは。
フランス、お前たちがその存在をささやき、なんとか
Yes.
私の後をつけ回して探ろうともしたではないか。それがここだよ。いや、正確にはそこの地下と言うべきか。
まさかここはクワドリアンの地下ですか？
I said Kuwardian. Kuwadorian, my bad.
Kuwadorian.
ご検察の通りです。こちらはクワドリアンの地下でございます。クワドリアン？まさか噂の親父殿本当に実在したのか？
我が最愛の魔女ベアトリーチェのためだけに築いたや地上部分は美しき上品な屋敷なのであるが、そこを案内できず実に残念に思うぞ。
こんな牢屋があるお屋敷で二人きりなんて素敵ね。どうもお父様とは性癖が合わないみたい。
Oh, did you get that?
No,
It was constructed for the sole use of my beloved witch Beatrice. How lovely just the two of you alone in the mansion with this kind of room. It seems that you and I are differently inclined.
That's funny.
キリエさん。
Kinzo is really kinky, apparently.
Yeah.
無礼な発言はお控えになった方が賢明ですわ。でも同感よ。私も送られた屋敷にこんな力があったら、100年の声も冷めて、金目のものだけいただいてとんずらするわ。
Oh.
Oh.
I thought she'd be into it.
Oh.
おや、
Same.
そういうご趣味はございませんか？てっきりキュンキュンしちゃうとばかり。
Yeah.
Hey, me too. And Matt.
Ronove's with us.
もちろんキュンキュンしちゃうわよ。誕生日のプレゼントに首輪なんかもらっちゃったりしたらね。
Wow.
What is going on
イケメ
here?
ンに限る。
It's like the third time
お
she
静か
said
に。
that.
首輪より猿靴輪が必要ですか？あら、あなたはそっちもいけちゃうの？リアって好き嫌いないのね。勝手に人の名前を略さないでください。
BDSM hour with Umineko.
やかましいぞ女たち。お前たちも同じ牢に閉じ込められたいというのか。
これは失礼いたしました。親子この老体にこのような寒い牢獄では身が持ちません。
Virgilia quickly apologized, but Gap merely laughed together with Ronave.
Gap!
It was like she was saying that she wouldn't be captured, or else that even if she were to be captured, it would be meaningless.
牢とは捕らえ逃がさぬこと。それはすなわち生涯手放さぬとの強い意志と愛。逃げても諦められる程度の女ならば愛を語るに値しない。鎖で縛ってでも逃がしたくないと思うほどに苦しくなる女。そこまでに至ってこそ我が生涯を捧げるに値。お前にそれを別れとは言わぬよ。
Wow.
Did Kenzo actually lock up Beatrice in chains?
I don't know, man.
私は誰にも縛れない。愛されたいんじゃないの。愛したいの。私もゴールドスミスと同じよ。だからよくわかるわ。あなたの愛の狂気。
愛と狂気は紙一重というわけかね。実に旗迷惑な話だ。
しかしあっさり所在地が分かったのは大きいわ。詳しい経緯は後で聞くけど。
はい、そこの廊下がクワドリアンの地下通路ならば、あの先をまっすぐ行けば長い地下道になり、それをずっと歩けば屋敷に戻れるはずだ。
Wait, there's a tunnel from the mansion to here?
Oh, really?
この鉄格子さえなんとかできれば屋敷に帰れるってことね。
Then where does the tunnel lead to in the mansion?
Maybe it leads to that underground place where
Oh, where the gold was?
yeah. Because that was under the mansion, that wasn't underneath Kuwadorian, right?
Yeah.
すでに宣告した通り、お前たちは後の晩のための生贄で、都合よく人数も5人。えぐりて殺す5人の人質にぴったりであろう。
なるほど。私たちも年貢の納め時というわけですか。
やがてはだが、今はそのために訪れたので、それに言ったはずだ。もしも孫たちの誰かが我が全てを継承するにふさわしいと認められたなら、つまりお前たちは命拾いをするという。お子さんたちに何をするつもりですか？次期当主にふさわしいかどうかテストを与える。その結果、私をうならせる者が一人でもいたならば。
ふさわしい者がいなかったら子供たちはどうするつもりですか？
それを心配する必要は。どうせ先に生贄とされるのはお前たちだ。その後のことなど知ったことではなかろう。お前たちは自らの命運を自らの子供たちに。お前たちが産み教え育ててきた結晶が子供たちだ。お前たちの命運を委ねるに実にふさわしい存在の。そう心配そうな顔をするなよ、クラ。お前の自慢の100億の価値のある娘を信じろよ。
まったくね。子供は親の結晶よ。親の命運を預けるにふさわしいわ。お父様にとっても。
肝の据わった女だ。ルドルフにはもったいない。キリエさん、あまり挑発しない方がいい。
同感だ。 今は耐えよ
そうね。どうせ私たちはまな板の上の恋よ。
Mackerel?
今さら何もできやしない。
私に対し異性嫌いではないぞ。そういう女はベアトリーチェも初めはそういう女だった。
親方様、そろそろ本題を。さっきから脱線しまくりです。
おお、そうであったな。すまぬすまぬ。それでは本題に入ろう。そのために電話を用意しておいたのだ。シャノン、知恵が回るな。もう隠さなくてもいい。それは私が用意させたの。
That was obvious. At least to us.
失礼いたしました。
Shannon quickly withdrew and the telephone was revealed.
クラウス、ゲストハウスの孫たちに電話をかけるがよい。そして我がテストを、試練の始まりを彼らに告げるのだ。
With a gesture that seemed to be saying, "Go ahead," Renove urged Kraus to pick up the
嫌
receiver.
だと。
ほほう。取引の余地がどこにあるというのか。お前が電話をせぬというなら、孫たちにはチャンスさえも与えぬ。後ろ宮家はこれにて終わり。お前たちは直ちに生贄だ。
直ちに生贄なら幸運よ。あなたたちの眼前で子供たちを先に生贄にされた方が辛いと思うけれど。
生贄の順番は親方様が決めます。
Nice gap in her name.
勝手なことを言わないように。
リア、今私の名前を縮めようとして詰まったでしょ。
That's funny.
してません。
Instead, she made it longer by adding a gap.
だから勝手に人の名前を略さないように。
女は実に
かしましいですな。
Poo coo coo.
Poo coo coo.
And that is the end of the chapter.
Wow.
Yee boy. Next time on Umineko, we'll be back to the world 12 years later with Angie.
And everything will be just peachy.
Hopefully. Probably not. Never. It's Umineko. What are we to say?
No, never.
With that, sayonara. Goodbye.
Peace.